Well, welcome back, everyone. I don't know about you, but when it's summertime, I like to look and hear beautiful birds. So welcome, Dan Hodges.
You got it, Chris. And you know what? What a great time of year it is to get outside and to learn the birds that live in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Now, in the summertime, sometimes it's a little more difficult because there's leaves on the trees and the birds are not, congregating, to migrate or what have you. So a lot of times they're a little more spread out and a little harder to see. But usually, not always, but usually, the birds that are here over the summer that are breeding and raising their families here, they're also singing to advertise their territory, to try to, keep the competitors away and try to tell their family that this is where they live.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple of birds here you can listen to, and if
Oh.
I love this guy. This is the yellow-billed cuckoo. It's one of my favorite birds. I love listening to these guys. And if you can hear, okay, all right, that's enough.
It's a chatty one, isn't it?
He's super fun. But these birds are singing in your neighborhood. Some of them you recognize pretty readily, right? Like the northern cardinal.
Oh, yeah.
And the northern cardinal has this beautiful kind of laser pew, pew, pew sound. Let's hear the northern cardinal. But this guy, these often live, there it is. There's always a little delay. Oh, nice. All right, that's enough. These guys like to live kind of in a kind of mixed habitat, usually a little bit on the edge, right? And so if you hear them singing, you usually kind of have this edge habitat. What I wanted to mention today was that you can identify these birds. You can identify them by their song. And there, by the way, there's an app called Merlin that really helps you do that. Look up Merlin and thank me later. But some of them are pretty specialists to where they need to breed. For example, this is probably a pretty extreme example. This is the belted kingfisher. If you have a belted kingfisher, you definitely have water somewhere where the belted kingfisher can find fish, because that's what it eats. So this is an extreme example of a bird that you won't find in other habitats. In the deep woodlands, you won't find a kingfisher unless there's a stream, right, or a river. Or you won't find them in the open country unless there's specifically a water for the kingfisher. This is true for a lot of birds, though. Some of them, like that yellow-billed cuckoo, or one of my favorites, the wood thrush, they are specifically living in forest habitat. So here's the wood thrush. What a gorgeous song.
That's a pretty one.
It's got two syrinx, like our voice box, so it sings in harmony with itself. It's a really crazy bird. And this you'll find singing in the woodlands. And that's really cool because these birds breeding in those areas that they have specific needs are often indicators of the quality of the landscape that you're looking at. So a wood thrush is going to tell you that you have high quality woodlands, right? A kingfisher is going to tell you you're near a stream. The bluebird and the meadowlark are going to tell you that you have open country habitat, right? Some of that you can kind of intuit, but a lot of these need healthy habitats, not just any old woodlands, but a good woodlands, right? Not just any, field that's open, but a healthy habitat. And so birds as indicators is really cool. And we have some programs.
I was going to ask you about that.
We have a couple of birding hikes that we're doing this summer to try to gauge the breeding birds in our area. One's next Tuesday. We put in our newsletter, we put a little checklist here for breeding birds that you might see around your house. You can come out with us, of course, and do that survey. You can do this survey at home and see if you can find some of these common breeding birds right in your neighborhood, in your backyard, in the woods near your house. So it's a great time to get out and bird and see the birds that live right in our backyard.
Yeah, so on these programs, do you recommend the binoculars as well?
That's great. I'm glad you asked. Binoculars are fantastic. A field guide is important. Bring your phone and download that app that I told you. For the Park District, we have some binoculars and field guides to share, so you don't have to worry about bringing stuff if you don't have it. Just come on out. We want to go birding with you.
Yeah, sounds like fun. Well, Dan Hodges from the Johnny Appleseed Metro Park District, thank you so much for coming in.
Glad to be here. And don't forget, you got to get outside.
That's right, especially if you want to hear and see those birds.
See those birds.
All right, well, don't go away because we have more when we return.